once again that we have something jump into our shopping cart. So for today, the Cessna 172 from Carenado that was just released for Microsoft Flight Sim 2024. So we're going to take a look at the early 50s vintage version of the 172. And we're going to get it started up, fly out a first flight, have a go at it, and then land over at Manio in our traditional fashion. So let's go ahead and get started. So to that end, go ahead and cut the music off here. Jump in the plane with the cover on, you will see the cover. What a shock. All right, so let's try that again. A little ahead of myself. All right, let's take the cover off. That also removes the intake covers. Chocks are a little finicky. They came off that time just fine. Plane looks great. Love this old vintage style. It's very Art Deco-y, I guess. Like all the texturing. And all the reflectivity and such. It just looks great. Carenado does such a good job with the texture stuff. So this airplane has interesting flight characteristics, which a little bit different than the 170B. Of course, this is a tricycle landing gear and not a tail dragger. But I think they're probably more alike than they are different. Anywho, we're going to jump in the plane. All right, so cold and dark start setup. It's straightforward, folks. This is an old vintage Cessna. So, at any rate, all right. So let's see. Battery on, avionics on. Got the 330 ES on as well. Get our mixture to full rich. Crack the throttle. Open up the magnetos. Got some lights on. Let people know that we're getting ready to commence with the shenanigans. All right, clear prop. And we'll go ahead and let that get situated. All right, so we're going to try to start without doing the primer. I don't think we need it today. We'll find out. Okay, so let's see what we got. And the whole aircraft is shaking. That's great. Some vibrations going on in the instruments. That's awesome. Whole airplane's moving. That's really, really cool. All right, so coming off the parking brake here. Bring our way away from the cart. Yeah. Plenty of room. Okay, so there are a number of 172s available in the sim. And in terms of playing around with this, I do think there's a little bit of an issue with perhaps external sounds, maybe. I really don't want to blame it on the aircraft, but I think this one does have a sound issue, perhaps. Anyway, I'll point it out if it happens. If it doesn't, then I can blame it on the sim. All right, so notice that the aircraft does dip when you press on the brakes. quite sensitive to that. Okay, I got my toe brakes on. Looks like we are ready for departure, except I would like to have some flap. So let's go to 10 degrees of flaps here. All right, let's go ahead and take off. Coming off the toe brakes. Airspeed is alive. And we'll start gently making our way up at a good 800 or 900 feet a minute climb rate here. Get up over the top of these high-powered transmission lines. Flaps up. And we'll make our turn here. And just like we always do, we'll make our way down toward Jockey's Ridge State Park. Externals look really good on the plane. The reflectivity and the texturing is very, very well done. It's quite flyable, although it is a little cranky in terms of operations at low airspeed. So be careful on your approach not to get too slow, because you will drop a wing and die. Any rate, so I suppose that's true of anything, but just beware. All right, we're about 1,000 feet. Let's go ahead and get some climb here. Make our way down the beach. Coming up on Jockey's Ridge. And I do want to get some more altitude here, so concentrate on that for a moment. There are 8 liveries. You can operate with or without the wheel fairings. Wheel shoes make you feel all fancy, so we're fancy today. And then we'll get ourselves up to about 3,000 feet, and then we'll turn to the west and do our stall test, and then we will be good to go. All right, we're almost at 3,000 feet. I think this does a grand job of climbing out and gaining some altitude. All right. And we'll do a power on stall. All right. Here we go. All right, ready to climb. We'll burn off some airspeed in a hurry. We're still proceeding. We're gonna make it up to over 4,000 feet, I think. So it is going to drop a wing. And at least the modeling in the sim doesn't give it any real warning or buffeting. But once she decides to let go, should be coming up on it about now. Yep, there we go. Yep, not particularly violent. Alright, so we're at 4,300 feet, so we've got some altitude to burn off here. Alright, we can side slip some of this off. We've got about 1,500 feet of it taken care of here. Swing back around again. Put Jockey's Ridge off our nose, and then we'll swing back around again, and then we should be in pretty good shape. We're now down to 2,000 feet, so. And really, we're equidistant between the two airfields. We could land at either. We'll swing back around here to the south. All right. Okay, we are in the white arc, so we can start adding some flap here. I think I'll do 20. Situation situated here. We'll make our way down. Again, you don't want to get really slow. We'll drop a wing hard on you and ruin your day. Just hold her off the runway here. And we'll ease brakes on. And we'll just carry on down here a little further. All right, so right now I think this is $14.99 US. So what do I think? I think it's a lot of fun. I think it's nuanced enough, at least for me, in terms of being slightly different than the 170B. That's definitely worth going in my hangar. So I would recommend it. It's going to be a worthwhile purchase for me. I'm going to get some use out of it in terms of group flights. So yeah, well, I would say it's definitely sim-worthy, particularly if you like vintage general aviation aircraft. I think this one's good. Love the livery. Flies good, looks good. Must be good. All right, so thanks Carenado for bringing this to the sim. If you haven't already done so, we would invite you to like the video and subscribe and make a comment. All those things help the channel out, continue to grow. We appreciate you being along for the video today. So, Cessna 170 from Carenado, definitely sim-worthy. I'm going to leave it here. And until next time, cheers, y'all.